Hey! It's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
What is up, everybody? Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Welcome into the first Sunday show of the 2025 season.
Mike's wolfing down food. So
We did water ASMR. Now you get my munching ASMR.
nice job.
So thank you, everybody, for joining. It is our first Sunday Fab show of the year. But we're also doing a Ask Me Anything segment. Your boy, Mike Virginia, @_Mike VA on Twitter, joined by Michael Govier, @MJ Govier on Twitter X, and also Britton Allan, 2 T's, 2 L's. Gentlemen, how we doing this Sunday?
Excellent.
There we go.
We're off to a banging start.
I'm depressed. I'm depressed about Alexis Diaz. So let's just get that out of the way right now. Get it over with. I was wrong.
Yeah, there's a lot of news to discuss. It just came out. Alexis Diaz is starting the season on the IL, the Cincinnati closer for the past 2 years. He's not going to be closing games probably for a while. Had a terrible spring. They're going to IL him. He's either injured or they hate him or both. So I think it's Taylor Rogers is the guy that I'm putting all my bids in for today. What do y'all think? Taylor Rogers, or did y'all like somebody else in the bullpen?
Well, I just put a tweet out about this as well. There have been rumblings about Graham Ashcraft potentially taking over the closer role, but there's also Scott Barlow there who is looming, who has closer experience as well. My take on this is I agree with you, Britton. I would put a speculative ad in for Rogers. The best answer is we don't know, and that's boring as all hell. But I could see a committee approach too, but Graham Ashcraft is getting a lot of buzz as well. So if you can afford it, I would wait and see how this bullpen plays out. But if you can't, my money would be on Taylor Rogers. But Gove, any strong thoughts there?
Right now, I got nothing strong. Full credit to the people who were right about Alexis Diaz, it not working out. Even our man Britton Allan here on Friday night was making it clear. Party's over. He made it clear, I think, the week before too. And I did say on Friday at least I can clip that video if I want to make myself look better, that I was looking at Scott Barlow, but we don't know. I really think this is a big mystery right now. So go for it. Take a shot at any of these guys and see what happens. Whee!
I did take a shot on Graham Ashcraft in one of my leagues over Taylor Rogers, just simply because of the fact of I can plug Ashcraft into my SP slot, so which all of my RP slots are full. So, and then another league I took Rogers. So, which again, hoping one of those hits. But again, I think your point there, Gove. I think the boring answer is we don't know, but pivoting off of this as well, there's a couple other news to break. We'll go over these one by one. I put together a little list. Victor Scott II makes the team and is going to be the opening center fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals. I know we crossed this road this time last year, but this is a guy that has elite speed. Probably will be hitting towards, depending on what they want to do with Mason Wynn. For those of you guys who don't know, the Mason Wynn camp has been very quiet. It's because he's having an absolutely awful spring, just downright awful. Striking out a lot. He's hitting under 100. I think he's batting a buck or .083. So I don't know if they're going to elect to leave him in the leadoff spot or if they're going to move him down. Maybe Victor Scott would be the guy. But Britton, I'll start with you. Any interest in Victor Scott, and what formats are you adding him in?
I'm taking a flyer on Victor Scott everywhere. He had such a great spring that he made the team. Good for him. A lot of people might remember last year where, he was one of the biggest fab guys ever. Like, people went nuts because he stole 100 bases in the minors. And but now he's looking good. He's made the team. He's going about 8th or 9th. That's not great. But definitely worth a shot, because if you would need some speed or the draft just didn't turn out the way you wanted it to as far as stolen bases, then I think he's definitely worth a late round. If you still have drafts coming up, a late round draft pick, why not? So here's another thing. One of Michael Govier's, at least I think this is true, one of Michael Govier's favorite players, Lucan Baker. Is that true, Mike V, or did I or Mike Govier?
I like Luke and Baker. I'm into him. Yeah, I've had some moments for sure.
So he's made the team. He's going to be on the short side platoon with lefty Alec Burleson. But Luke and Baker's got some pop. He's first base eligible. So, I don't know why I throw that in there. It's not like anybody's drafting Luke and Baker, but I figure what the hell.
There you go.
Hey, these final roster spots, everyone's talking about them. They do matter and they can have an impact. We all think, not all think, but let's be fair. The season starts and it looks like the roster is set, and that's just it. That's never it. Kyle Harrison got demoted yesterday. I'm not done with Kyle Harrison. There's other guys that get demoted that aren't there in the moment. Injuries will happen. We know that. Players will falter. They'll have shitty Aprils. So these things matter. Like what's happening with KC, and I haven't got the update on it. Is Nelson Velasquez going to make the team? He's out of options. He's a young guy who had some power. I like him. 2 years ago, he was on fire with the power, but then last year was terrible. But they also have Nick Prado. And with the Vinny P injury, Mike, your guy, unfortunately, maybe both these guys make the team now. I'm very curious to see who makes these teams at the end and if they have an impact, because they very well could be.
That was one of the other things on my list, which we'll talk about. But I don't want to jump ahead. Go real quick. Victor Scott II. Do you have any strong thoughts on him? Are you adding him maybe in a 12-team format, or is it deeper?
That's how I feel about it. I want to make sure that it's not just stolen bases. I don't know what else he could provide. If he could hit for an average and then score runs, we're in business. But if he's sitting at the bottom of the order, yes, I need steals, but I'd like to get steals from other players like Elaine Thomas, for example, who can hit for power and do other things as well.
Yeah, there you go. For me, I think you can add him in deeper formats. I think some 12-teamers, especially if you need speed. But I also don't like to put a lot of my eggs into one-trick ponies, that people just do one thing. But it's going to be remains to be seen what Victor Scott can do in terms of an average production, as well as maybe if in OBP format or even just the runs, because the Cardinals are not going to be a very good team. So I think you can add him if you need speed, to Britton's point, and kind of see how it goes. I certainly wouldn't be counting on him as a starter in my lineup, but maybe some bench depth there. So
$1, yeah, he's like a $1 bid for Fab. Yeah. Like if you had Gerard Encarnacion like as a sleeper on your bench, he's got a fractured hand. You can drop him. So why not take a shot on Victor Scott? Now remember, he got brought up last year and was a massive failure at the major league level. So maybe he learned something. Maybe it's his time to shine. I don't know, but yeah, I wouldn't go crazy. But he does make a difference on stolen bases, or at least he can, and he's got a roster spot. So I would definitely take a shot at him. Another guy I like too, and I want to get y'all's thoughts. Alan Roden for Toronto Blue Jays made the team. He was a big time prospect. Varsho will start the season on the IL, but in last year, 2024, Alan Roden between AA and AAA hit 32 home runs and stole 28 bases. He has a high walk rate, a low K rate. His hard hit numbers are really good. He's batting over 400 this spring training, and the Toronto brass really loves him. I think this guy is kind of like maybe flying under the radar a little bit. Victor Scott is the big talking point, but Alan Roden might be the steal here. I would definitely add him over Victor Scott. What do y'all think? Have y'all kept an eye out for Alan Roden?
He was a guy that was talked about on the Prospects show during our next Big Three series. By the way, last one of those is on Monday night, so make sure you tune in on Monday night. But this is a guy that Ben Chase likes a lot and was touting him. And the fact that he made the team is a real breakthrough, Mike. This is a guy that, if you're not aware of who Alan Roden is, Britton, great call. Take notice and consider adding him. Now, I'd have to look at how the roster is going to play out, though, because they might get into a situation where it's like, well, we like having him up here, but we don't have enough at-bats for him, so maybe he's got to go back down so we can keep him on the regular.
Well, that's the other thing I want to talk about really quick as well. Unless you're playing a really, really deep format, like I'm not going crazy on any of these guys quite yet. I got bit by that bug early on in last year's season. Spring training is a lot different than the regular season, so I also want to put that out there. But I'm not going crazy because I already have gotten some questions already with a lot of these announcements in terms of dropping guys and adding guys and things like that. But I think the big thing for me, obviously, with a lot of these, unless I play in a 14 or 15 team roto, whatever it may be, a lot of these guys are going to be lottery tickets. And a common phrase that we use a lot on this show is, you plug and play and hopefully one of them hits. But it's the season hasn't even started yet. So in terms of Roden, I mean, yeah, sure. I think I like him better over Scott, but if I need speed, I would be targeting Scott over Roden. So, but yeah, I mean, I like Roden as well, but in deeper formats.
And they demoted Addison Barger too, as a guy who's had time at the big league level.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, these are just churn and burn guys, 100%. Like you said, it's a lottery. You can't win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket.
That's
you
right.
Can't. It's literally impossible. So
you can go broke doing that too.
Yeah. Hey, but don't plan your retirement around winning the lottery either. But buy some tickets. And these guys are definitely talented. Like Alan Roden's talented. Like his numbers, he's hit every single level in the minor leagues. So
he's 25 too. He's not a baby. He's not like 21 either. So
yeah, from Creighton University.
Hey, Blue Jays. A Blue Jay who's a Blue Jay. Wow, that's pretty cool, I must say.
The other guy I want to bring up, and since we've already talked about it, and Gove kind of alluded to it earlier, my boy who I have a lot of shares of, Vinny Pasquantino, came up lame running down to first base trying to beat up a double play. And it's definitely a hamstring injury. He did say after the game, he said, quote unquote, I feel fine. But then again, he also said that I'm not the Royals medical staff. Hamstrings are tricky. I doubt they rush him. I would be shocked if he doesn't hit the IL. But they did confirm it was a hamstring strain. And a lot of people were asking me, is it Jack Caglione season? No. It's Mark Canha season. He's going to be playing first base probably. And maybe a couple of these other guys, maybe that you touched on, go maybe make the team. But Mark Canha was a good pickup for them.
Well, Nick Prado was a first-round pick. We talked about, remember Britton on Friday, we talked about David Peterson was a first-round pick a few years back. Nick Prado was either in that draft or the draft after as a first-round pick for the Royals. So he had a moment a couple years ago. He's never been consistent. He strikes out way too much. And Canha's the old man who has the veteran ability, Mike. But you take a look at Prado, put him on your watch list. A lot of these guys we're talking about, you click that star on Yahoo on the watch list. You know what I mean, Mike?
Yeah. I've been doing that already, and a lot of the guys we've already mentioned are on my watch list. In my home league, we play in a spot right now that everybody's a free agent after the first game. So until the real opening day hits on Thursday, so you could be churning and burning, but they do go against your weekly waiver wire moves, which is something else I want to talk about just really quickly. If you guys play in a Yahoo format, they count the Japan series as quote unquote the opening day. So really, this is going to take you all the way. If you have weekly transaction limits, this is going to take you all the way until not next week, but the week after until it resets. So keep that in mind. It is a long, long time. So if you have roster limitations, or if you have something in terms of weekly moves, keep that in mind when you're adding some of these guys as well, because you never know what can happen during the regular season, because we do have a long time before the transaction limits reset. So go ahead.
Can we jump on a question real quick here from Fantasy Sports? With live chat, we love you guys being here. Thank you so much. Do you recommend drafting McClanahan? These are all guys who've injured, right? McClanahan, Grayson, Uri Perez, Bieber, Jared Jones. Considering their injury, are you drafting or fading any of them?
I wouldn't even necessarily I got to go above the bubble here. I wouldn't necessarily even say that I'm fading them. I'm not drafting them. So I guess you can count that as fading them. I don't want any injured pitcher on my team. Shane McClanahan is a tricep thing. Looked like yesterday he looked pretty defeated. I don't know what
after
that
being
means.
Gone for years. So that's got to be bad news.
Yeah, he looked good. Grayson has been throwing a little bit. And if anybody on this list, I probably like Grayson the most, just because he's ramping up a little bit more than everybody. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Nose fan, but simply because he's ramping back up. So, but Uri Perez is not coming back until after the All-Star break. Same thing with Bieber. Jared Jones is likely Tommy John. McClanahan, until we get some more information, I'm not drafting him either. So if I had to pick one of these guys, it'd be Grayson. But Britton, what about you?
Yeah, no, I'm 100% not drafting any of those guys. I saw the McClanahan injury. Kevin Cash was so sad after that spring training game, like he was almost speechless. And McClanahan took himself out of the game. It looked like there was a death in the family in the Tampa Bay Rays clubhouse because McClanahan, like I don't know if he's done for the year or whatever, but man, there was bad vibes everywhere. So I would stay away from all these guys.
Go. What about you?
Yeah, Grayson's the only guy. Otherwise, I'll be in May. I might be snagging some of these guys, prepping for my playoff run in head-to-head leagues. But otherwise, that's the status at this time.
Yeah. Let's see if we have any more questions here from Skywalker. I don't think I've seen you in here before, Skywalker. If you're new to the channel, make
Leia?
sure
Yeah, who is it? Is it Anakin?
Could be all three of them.
The force is strong with this one.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, my friend. He or she or whoever. But in head-to-head points league, does change of team help Paredes, Bregman, or Christian Walker, and how do you rank them? But so obviously Paredes moves from Chicago to Houston, Bregman moves from Houston to Boston, and Christian Walker moves from Arizona to Houston. So out of all of these guys, I'm probably highest on Bregman. Britton touched on this in an earlier show. But Bregman's OPS is stellar in Boston, and I think that the power numbers will continue there for Bregman. New environment, great lineup. I also like Paredes too, but I still give me Christian Walker if everything's okay with it. I believe he had an oblique injury earlier this spring, so I'd go. He's
on target
Christian
for opening
Walker.
day, I believe.
Okay, I'd go Bregman, Christian Walker, Paredes, but it's all kind of lumped relatively in the same area there. But Gov, how about you? How do you rank these?
Oh, I just got depressed because Anthony's saying the Tigers signed Manny Margot. Who gives a shit? Oh, man, that's bogus. There. All right. Anyways, I really wanted to like Paredes a lot more. I don't know. I wonder how much more of a ceiling he can break through this year in Houston. I'm very curious about that. It's a player I'll be keeping an eye on. Bregman is what Bregman does, 25 to 30 dongs. I wish he'd hit for a better average. And then Christian Walker is a power stud. So I would rank them Bregman, Walker, Paredes, I guess.
Britton, is it a clean sweep? Are you ranking them that way? Or are you changing it up some?
Yeah, I'm going to rank Paredes, Isaac Paredes, number one, because he's such a pull-heavy hitter like that. His swing is made for those Crawford boxes or whatever in Houston. So I think he gets the biggest upgrade. Bregman is a close second, because he's so, like he's mentioned, he's so good at Fenway for whatever reason. He just loves hitting there. So that's a big upgrade for him. I think Paredes and Bregman are going to both have career years, and I think Christian Walker is going to be fine. You know, he was hitting in Arizona, which is a great place to hit. Now he's hitting in Houston, also good. So I think I like all these guys, but I would say Christian Walker is more of a lateral move, whereas the other moves are big upgrades, especially Paredes. Plus, you can draft Paredes really late, and he legitimately has a shot for 30 home run power, batting third or fourth for the Astros.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to touch on some other things. Somebody else brought it up in the chat, but Cam Smith looks to be the likely opening day right fielder.
Yeah, saw that.
For those of you guys who don't know, Cam Smith came over in the Kyle Tucker trade, and not particularly an outfielder, but that's where they're going to slot him at in right field. He's having a phenomenal spring. He leads all Astros in every hitting category, which is obviously great, something you want to see. But as we touched on, spring training is a lot different than regular season. So Britton, it looks like Goff had to take off. But how would you rank these if you were trying to put in a bid for one of these guys, and you only pick one? Let's go Cam Smith, Victor Scott, and who was the other guy I mentioned? Cam
Alan
Smith, Victor
Roden.
Scott, and Alan Roden. We'll go those three. How would you rank them?
I'm going Alan Roden number one because he's 25. He's done it at every single level in the minor leagues. All the metrics back it up. He walks. He doesn't K much. He hits. He has power, and he steals bases. I think Alan Roden is far and away your best bet.
Okay.
Victor Scott would probably be number two because he's an elite stolen base guy. So and he has had a taste of the majors. I'm worried about Cam Smith. Now I know he's exciting. I get that, but he was drafted last year, 2024. He was drafted like 14th overall, and I realized that He's a college bat out of Florida State, so it's not like they picked him out of high. It's not 19 out of high school or something. But man, and he's having a great spring. That's good. But he's only had 40 plate appearances in spring training. I mean, so long story short, I would put him third. I know he's talented, but what's he going to do when he faces Zach Wheeler or whatever? This isn't a spring training arm. There's no more spring training arms for him to face. So I'm worried. I think he's got a lot of potential, obviously, but I guess maybe I'm just like old. Mike V, just like, well, he needs to go to AA and prove it over there. And, like one of those old crusty managers that doesn't believe in sabermetrics.
Like Dusty Baker?
Yeah, like who was that Angels manager? I can't remember.
Mike Scioscia?
Scioscia. Like they would hand him like this thing and say, all right, this is how the numbers work. And you're like, smoking a cigarette. Like, pitchers need to hit. Like that stuff. But anyway, so I think Alan Roden has the best shot of being successful.
32 games in the minor leagues.
Yep.
That is small sample size, folks, for those of you scoring at home.
Aren't they asking a little much out of this young man? I mean, these are big leaguers, and this guy was going to class last year.
They might be trying to get, this new era of the draft pick for rookie of the year stuff. It's refreshing at least to see people get a shot like this. I do love that, so I don't want to shit on that. But I'm going to go with Roden too. I think this is a classic situation where everybody's looking one way, but there's a guy who is just as capable and might produce more this year, especially in OBP leagues, as Britton mentioned. So I'm going to go Roden over Smith. 2.
Yeah. I'd go that way as well, in the exact same order that Britton.
Remember Langford last year?
Yeah.
By the way, that's like a good comp to think about. A guy, all right, this is the guy. Here we go. And, he came on later in the year, but it was a rough go in the beginning.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of what I worry about with Cam Smith, too. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't have any shares of any of these guys right now. Actually, I do have a couple shares of Victor Scott as a flyer earlier on in drafts. But
thanks, Chad. Yep. That's what I asked people to do this on Twitter. So thank you for coming over from Twitter, Chad. Appreciate it.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about too, real quick, guys, and get your thoughts on, because I was getting blown up yesterday. My boy Nolan Jones gets traded from Colorado back to Cleveland, where he started his major league career. And I'm already blanking on the guy they got. Was it Fry? Who was it? Who came over from Cleveland?
Tyler Freeman.
That's what I meant.
Or you mean Juan Brito in the original trade?
No.
Yeah, Juan Brito was part of the original trade, I believe.
I meant this trade. So Tyler Freeman goes from Cleveland to Colorado there as your Tyro Estrada replacement. But everybody kept asking me this on Twitter yesterday. Does this automatically mean it's Zach Veen season in Colorado? And I want to go over and break this down real quick. I'm going to start, but I want to get you guys' thoughts in here and get you guys in this. Here's the thing with me. I think that the two guys that have roster spots locked up in the outfield, or just outfield and first base, are going to be your boy Bretton Doyle, Gove, who you've already labeled a bust, and then Mike Talia, who's going to be playing first. So those are going to be the first two guys I think that are going to be in the starting lineup. But then you're going to have two outfield spots in a DH spot between. And again, it's not even sure if Zach Veen has made the team yet, at least from my optic. But you got Zach Veen, Sam Hilliard, Hunter Goodman, Jordan Beck, and Chris Bryant. Those are 5 guys and only 3 positions to go around. So is this roster resource or is this Fangraphs? Yeah, okay. They have Zach Veen and Jordan Beck slotted in there. So it looks like Hunter Goodman be the odd man out as well as Sam Hilliard. But, Britton, I'm going to flip it to you. Out of after the news of Nolan Jones, is there anybody in Colorado from the bat perspective that you are looking to acquire?
Yeah, I think Jordan Beck is the one that I would focus on. Mm-hmm. He came up last year, wasn't great. I get that, but I think he's going to get a shot. Zach Veen is interesting because he's had a hot summer. He was a former first round draft pick, but he's been injured a lot. It's kind of sidelined his minor league career. Looks like he's in a platoon with Sean Bouchard. Let me redo. But so you've got Bouchard, Sam Hilliard, Veen, and Beck. So those
Hunter
4
Goodman
guys,
too.
Yeah, and you mean Hunter Goodman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll play outfield, but he's their backup catcher currently.
Well, I'm talking about it more so just from playing time, from a DH perspective.
They got Chris Bryant in DH.
Yeah.
What a
Jesus
waste of
Christ.
money
Oh my
that
God,
was.
dude.
Seriously.
I
mean,
hear that. Kill me.
everybody talks about the Anthony Rendon deal, which was absolutely horrendous for the Angels, but Chris Bryant may have even been worse. Like, oh man.
It's not worse, but it's a close second.
How about getting zero return?
Hell on earth. Pure hell on earth, dude. Yeah.
I feel
Nightmare.
sorry for the Rockies for that one. They tried to go out and get a big splash, corner. Yeah, and he just sucks.
Yeah, everybody draft Chris Bryant this year. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
then I'll
Chris
win.
Bryant will get hurt. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But yeah, I think I like Zach Veen too. I've got him in several leagues, but I think Jordan Beck is the one that's going to do full time.
Well, I mean, Veeton has a hot spring training, and now he's back in business. I'm not buying that. I need to see more. I am not going in there. I know Chad, our old pal Chad here, he was talking about Zach Veen every season. He loves Zach Veen. He was touting him. So Chad is on cloud 9 right now, no doubt. But I'm not going down that Veen road until he shows me. I know it's Coors, so everybody gets a bump. Coors bump. But I like Jordan Beck, and I'm interested in Bouchard. And Tyler Freeman in Coors is a guy I was liking enough in deeper leagues for Cleveland. So now that he gets to play, I do think it's disappointing that the Rockies will not be applying Adele Amador. Shit, I always screw his name up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he's a hot guy. He came up for a second last year and didn't do anything, just like every Rockies player, it seemed like last year, oddly enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that Amador gets another shot here soon.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I like Jordan Beck the most out of this, but it's close. I do like Zach Veen as well, but I'm not as high on him as some other folks. I actually had somebody ask me if a good comparison was Corbin Carroll for Zach Veen, which I thought was a little off. But when I say a little, I mean a lot. But the big thing with the Rockies hitters, and this is something I brought up yesterday in a tweet. I love Carlos Gonzalez, Anthony. Man, I love Carlos Gonzalez.
I worked at Coors Field. I worked at Coors Field in batting practice. I'd be there while they were doing batting practice. And Carlos Gonzalez this was back when he was on that team back in like 2011. And I got a couple of practice balls I just put in my pocket that he ripped into up by the Todd Helton Burger Shack. It was a beautiful day. There's nothing like Coors Field. It's one of the most beautiful stadiums in the country, hands down.
Yeah, loved Cargo. But here's the thing, too, that I want to bring up really quickly. And you guys know this because you've been playing fantasy baseball for a while. The Rockies are going to rocky at the end of the day. And they're going to mix and match and have a lot of these guys playing on the bench back and forth. So I don't know if this actually means anything for anybody other than the fact that they just lessen their options. So unless somebody comes out of the gate hot and starts putting it into a spot where they have to leave him in the lineup. But
yeah.
The most truthful answer out of all of this is that one of these guys is going to see playing time, and no one's going to see consistent in the early going. So for me, it's a wait and see approach. If you're playing a really, really deep format, take a shot on Zach Veen, Jordan Beck. But yeah, the other thing is go ahead.
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm looking at the roster resource for the Colorado Rockies, and it's hilarious because they on the right side they have 20.
He's gone.
25 projections, and 2 players for the Rockies have a negative WAR projection.
Veen's been demoted.
You never see that.
Are you guys seeing this?
Yeah, Veen's optioned.
Veen's been optioned to AAA.
No, did that just happen? I didn't.
I just saw our buddy here, Pete, on the Twitter side of things, said it, and then I went to double check it. Rockies Club information, I believe, 12 minutes ago. Zach Veen to AAA, and they selected the contract of, here's one for you, Britton, one of your old pals from the Reds, Nick Martini.
How stupid are the Rockies? I mean, seriously, you're going to send down your first-round draft pick for Nick Martini? Nick Martini beat you out of spring training?
Don't walk, run to the waiver wire, get Martini, folks.
No, they hate Zach Veen. They hate their team.
Well, there it is. I'm glad that happened live on the show. That was a real treat for us. Thank you.
Well,
Sorry,
Jordan Beck.
Beck is still, absolutely. It's Beck for sure.
He's going to get full-time plate appearances.
Yep.
Nick
Martini.
So
there you go. Yeah, but another guy I want to get your all's thoughts on really quickly is Hunter Goodman, which we've touched on a lot, I think, recently in this show. He's going to be the backup, maybe the backup catcher. I don't know now, but he's having a phenomenal spring. along with Mike Talia as well, your boy Britton.
Oh, yeah.
Any thoughts on Hunter Goodman and his playing time? It was reported back in early February that his playing time would kind of be all over the place, so he doesn't have a starting gig. But do you think the Rockies will do right by at least Hunter Goodman, if not Zach Veen, and let him get in the lineup on a regular basis?
I think so, but I'm really baffled on what Goodman will produce this year because he's so down the trough in drafts that you can get him for nothing with that catcher designation. If he can give us 20 home runs this year, again, that's the kind of guy that can make a difference for us. I know Britton is locked in on the top catchers. He has made it clear that's his plan. But for guys like me who want to go deep and find that catcher who's going to surprise you, like Ryan Jeffers last year, hit 20 home runs. It was very helpful, and he was like pick 300. So I'm hoping that Goodman could be that guy this year. But remember that Drew Romo is the catcher in waiting for the Rockies, and I still believe that is the case. And Jacob Stallings, the old man, who will not have the same season he had last year. Lock that in, by the way. Wrong button. But he will help Drew Romo make a difference next year. So this year, Goodman could hit 20 dongs.
I think he hit 2 more yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But Britton, I know we touched on him a little bit on Friday's show, but do you think Hunter Goodman has a clear path to playing time?
I think he's going to be the backup catcher and then fill in every now and then. If you look at his games played last year, 27 games in right field, 23 as a catcher, 11 DH, 7 in left, 4 at first base. So he's a little bit of everything. Yeah. Unfortunately, with all that playing time, his batting average was 190. He hit 13 home runs. He had a negative 1.2 WAR. His WRC plus was 61. And for reference, 100 is league average. So he was below average in a whole lot of metrics. Now, his calling card is power. If you look at his StatCast page, he hits the ball real hard. But he's one of those players, like he's going to go a month and go, 2 for 30. And then the next month he's going to hit, 6 home runs in a month. So he's just got that kind of players. But he's in Colorado, and I like that. So, yeah. But I wouldn't bank on him as my second catcher in a 2-catcher league. I just think he's going to kill your batting average and might provide you with 13 home runs, which is fine. But you're going to be behind the 8 ball and a lot of other guys, I think.
Yeah. A couple other quick hitters in terms of notes. Felix Bautista, my boy, will be on the opening day roster. There was some speculation that he might not be ready, but it looks like he's going to be good to go. Gunnar Henderson hits the 7-day IL, and something I want to get your all's thoughts on. A lot of people have drafts today, one of them being myself. Gunnar Henderson is on the 7-day IL, so looks like he's going to miss about a week. Gov, I'll start with you since you have a draft today. What are you doing with Gunnar Henderson? Does he slide down your draft board, and are you concerned about his? It's not an oblique injury, folks. If I see it one more time, I'm going to go ape shit. It's an intercostal injury. It's this thing like right in between your rib cage. Okay, that's what that is. It's not an oblique. Oblique is on the side. So
that delicious meat that we eat, ribs.
That delicious meat. Yeah.
Oh, I love ribs.
I'm going to start calling ribs intercostals from now on. You like KC intercostals? You like South Carolina intercostals? Give me
Memphis style, baby.
Memphis. That's right. Of course. How could I forget Memphis? I still am pro Gunner, and I just don't think in head-to-head it doesn't mean anything. Put him on your team and rock and roll with him. In volume play, though, if you're going to lose, 15 games? Is that what you're thinking, Mike?
Max, if that.
Yeah, so I'm not really sweating it that much. If I had the chance to draft Gunner in a redraft league, unfortunately, tonight my league is a keeper league, so he's already on someone's team, but I would draft Gunner if I had the position in the first round. I just wouldn't back down, and I wouldn't be worried too much about it.
Britton, what about you? He's going currently right now as the number 8 player off the board. Does he slide down your draft board at all?
Yeah, definitely. I really like Gunnar Henderson. I went into one draft earlier before this injury news with the one directive in my mind: I'm drafting Gunnar Henderson. So I love Gunnar Henderson, but why would you take Gunnar Henderson ahead of Francisco Lindor? Like you shouldn't, because
I would.
Yeah, I totally get it, but I wouldn't. Lindor is like 30-30 every single year, and there's no injury thing. He's not starting the year on the IL, so I'm not going to draft Gunnar Henderson unless he falls to like the bottom of the first round. But
Lindor's been 30-30 last couple years, but he wasn't doing that for. He came to the Mets and he has kind of ascended back to where he was a few years ago in Cleveland. But Gunner's power, I guess it's all about build, Britton. I mean, if you're looking for power early on, or you're going to fill it later too, that is a key aspect here.
Yeah, I hear you. No, Gunner, I think he's going to be fine, but I would just in the first round, I would just give a slight edge to another player that's just as productive but not injured. Not going to start the year injured. That would be my preference. Now, I'm not saying avoid Gunnar Henderson, but there's just so many good players you could go. Like I don't know why you would risk it. Like even if it's a 1% chance that, let's say he goes on a rehab start a week or two from now, and something else pulls, or so there's something I don't know. Like why risk it when you can when you don't have to in the
risk
first
the biscuit.
round.
Our boy Dave Funnel. What's up, Dave? If you guys aren't following Dave on Twitter, make sure you do so.
Oh yeah, Davey.
But this is a quote from, I believe it was Mike Elias, which I also read. It's days, not weeks, for Gunnar Henderson. And I'm a nose guy. For those of you guys who are watching, we have 336 people watching. He was taking batting practice. He was fielding ground balls. Brandon Hyde came out and said, like, hey, we still want him to ramp back up. They're just running out of time. I think this is what the issue is. So with Gunnar, for me, he doesn't slide down my draft board at all. Like I said, he's going to miss the minimum of 7 days, and I think he'll be back after that. So, again, it's not an oblique injury. It's an intercostal injury. It's a completely different muscle. So it's not something that's going to, and he didn't do it swinging. He did it diving for a ball. I think they're just being extra cautious with Gunnar, noting that we already have injuries to Grayson Rodriguez. I think they're going to just play it safe. So it's just a matter of him ramping back up and not being ready for opening day quite yet. So it's not like he's sitting at home doing nothing. He's doing baseball activities. He's taking bats. Yeah, Dave actually says here, lots of simulated at-bats yesterday, today, and tomorrow, staying behind in Florida. Use the word hopeful, which isn't always certain. Okay, so there you go. But at the same time, too, like I said, I think they're being safe with him. Does he slide down my draft board? A pick or two, maybe, if that. Like I said, he's going at number 8 right now in drafts. I think that's probably appropriate where I would take him at. So, guys, did I miss anything in terms of the injuries, prospects making the team? Anybody you guys want to talk about?
I had one guy real quick for the Chicago White Sox. Josh Rojas fractured his thumb, which I think means Chase Meadroth is the starting shortstop for your Chicago White Sox. And you're like, who?
I thought you were going to say
Chase Meadroth. Look, he came over in the Garrett Crochet trade from Boston. He kills it in the minors. He's a great hitter, and I think he's kind of a sneaky shortstop that you can get way late. And I know at least Mike V, I don't know if Mike Govier has ever heard me say it, but I've talked about Chase Meadroth before. He's hit like it's crazy how successful he's been at every single level of the minor leagues, like hitting, kind of like an Alan Roden situation. But so keep your eye on good old Chase Meadroth from that doesn't really roll off the tongue either. So, but keep your eye on Chase
great
Meadroth.
Walk rates, doesn't have much pop, but does hit for average and has excellent walk rates. He's got looks like an incredible hitter's eye, and was with Boston. So now he's with the White Sox. He switches socks. Chase Meadroth.
He's switching the socks.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I saw Rojas was put on the IL today.
That's so sad.
Chicago White Sox. So one door closes, another one opens, friends. So we will keep your eye on Chase Meadroth, just because why not?
Because Britton said so. People, make sure you do it.
Because he's really good at walking. So if you're in one of those walk rate leagues, you might have a gold mine on your hands here.
I want to go back to the live chat here real quick. A few things we've missed here, just to give you guys your credit, because you guys are crushing it today. The live chat's on fire. This one here from Martin Lamens, MAA, like Lars Newt Bar, 2 A's. Martin, what's up? Make sure you subscribe and like, Martin. You look like a new name to me.
He
wants to know
with me on Twitter.
What's up, there you go. Now he's on the YouTube side. See, that's how you do it. You come over from Twitter and make a difference over here on YouTube. I love it, Martin. Thank you. Thank you very much. Christian Campbell, Roman Anthony, Jordan Beck, Alan Roden, or Victor Scott. He's not asking us anything specific, so I guess it's just a rankings for this year.
I think he's probably looking to make an ad of one of these guys. So if you had to pick one, who would you pick?
Oh, Beck. Oh, Roden over Beck. Yeah, Roden or Beck for me.
I'd go Roden as well, Martin, but it depends on what your team build is. Victor Scott got named the opening day center fielder, but going to hit lower in the lineup. So we talked about it earlier in the show. So make sure you go back and watch that. Like the video too, if you wouldn't mind, and leave us a cool comment. We'd like that. But Victor Scott would be my pick if he needs speed, but if not, I'd go Roden. Britton, any thoughts here? Looks like Christian Campbell is on track to be the opening day second baseman for Boston, but nothing confirmed yet.
Really?
Yeah, good for Christian Campbell. He had a tough start to spring training, but it's really turned it on, and it looks like he's going to win that job in Boston. So good for him. That's Christian Campbell. I'm all aboard the Alan Roden train. You know, I got my little conductor hat. I got coal all over my face. You know, I'm ready to hop aboard.
He's a mess.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
he's working hard.
He's working hard, man.
Mine.
That
That's right,
furnace, riding that train. High
Come on, ride the train. Remember that song? Man, that was a club hit in the 90s. Oh, Grateful Dead. Better call. Yeah.
You guys are killing me.
Shout out Grateful Dead.
Shout out Grateful Dead. That's right. Great video. By the way, if Christian Campbell's going to make the team now, then shit, I put up with Campbell first. I will. I put Campbell first for me. But I want you guys to remember this because I haven't had a chance to say this on air, and I wanted to talk about him on Friday night. David Hamilton is not going anywhere, and David Hamilton is very much a part of this team. He stole 33 bases in 300 plate appearances, guys. That's a season's worth in half a season. And they still like him. They want him to play outfield. They want him to play all over. Just pinch running alone and getting walks because he doesn't just have, like Dairon Blanco of the Royals. He can run, right? And he can pinch run and get you steals. But he doesn't have anything else, really. David Hamilton has other assets that he can use. He has some pop, and he's got an excellent plate discipline to lean on. So I just want you guys to remember, I've drafted David Hamilton everywhere.
That's a great call. I would put David Hamilton above Victor Scott in my waterfall of bids. I'm going to do that today, too, because Hamilton has had a great spring training. I know Campbell gets all the buzz, but look how many stolen bases Hamilton has had this spring training. Like, this dude hustles. I really like David Hamilton. Like, Campbell will get all the buzz, but Hamilton may actually outproduce him. I'm writing him down on my.
He was hot last year. He came on like a shooting star, and people were loving him. And Boston likes him too. He's not going anywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. It was also reported that before Christian Campbell was the quote unquote favorite to win it, they were talking about David Hamilton being the guy. So I think Cora is having a back and forth dilemma there, but I would agree with you guys. Campbell would vault into number one for me there, Martin, if he is indeed named the starting second baseman. I want to talk about this really quick. I want to take a brief pause. For those of you guys who are just now tuning in, because we have so many people, make sure you tune in this Tuesday, our opening day eve show. I know it's not opening day on Wednesday, but we're putting it a couple days back so Gov could join. But it is Tuesday, this Tuesday. Make sure you mark your calendars. And I believe we said 8:30 p.m. Is that correct, Mike?
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
8 p.m. So make sure you join us. There's going to be plenty of people from Pallazzo on there. All these people down here next to me will be on the show, as well as some great other fantasy baseball analysts, probably people you're already following. Make sure you guys join us. It'll be great. We have a blast doing it every year. It's our 4th annual, so make sure you guys check it out. And don't forget, I'm also giving away a jersey. So if you entered my jersey giveaway, make sure you do that. And if you haven't done so already, there's still time. All you have to do is go over to my Twitter page and look at the pinned tweet. So
great job.
I'm going to get back into that question got brought up. I don't remember who asked it, though.
This one?
No, you brought up another one after that. We answered that one already.
Oh, I wanted... Well,
who was it? Somebody with a blue. Oh, this one here. Just tuning in. Talk to me about Hunter Goodman. Yeah, Frank, we talked about that. We talked about him briefly, but make sure you go over and rewind that. Hunter Goodman remains to be seen. Let's just put it that way.
This one from Adam Lee up here. That's going back because I want to give guy credit. Do you pick Acuna at 35 in redraft?
Buy or sell? Also, just bought Worcestershire sauce for the eggs.
Oh, I love Worcestershire sauce. Are
it's my favorite. Yeah, man. My father's from England, and he's a big Worcestershire sauce guy. We put it on
Really?
eggs, all that stuff. Yeah,
Dude, there's no
sauce.
Chex Mix without Worcestershire sauce. Let me tell you that right now. That's what makes it so bold. I love Worcestershire. Yeah, get a Bloody Mary going. Man, when I used to be a raging Bloody Mary drinker, I love Bloody Marys so much. I miss them a little bit actually now. Thanks, Adam.
Totally underrated. A good Bloody Mary, kick you right. A Bloody Mary in a morning in New Orleans. Oh
Yeah.
man, you're about to have a great day. You know,
Bloody Mary at the tailgate in Ann Arbor at 9 a.m. Hell yeah, let's party.
So back to his question here with Acuna at pick 35.
Oh, yeah.
This is a third. This is a third rounder, maybe a pick there for Acuna. I know how Britton feels. We've talked about it a lot on this show in terms of where we're drafting Ronald Acuna, if at all. We've talked about it before. He's already said he doesn't want to steal 70 bases. He'd rather be closer to 30 and be healthy. So,
Okay.
But he looks like he's going to be back in the early going of May. I think May 2nd or May 3rd was the early target date. I personally am in on Acuna. Even if he does steal 30, I'm totally fine with that as long as I'm getting the 30 and 40 home runs and the solid batting average. So he's still a 5x5 stud for me. I get it. This is his second knee injury. They will be careful with him and probably give him a little bit more rest days in the early going, but I still think he warrants a third round pick for sure. That's just my personal take. And I did do that.
Only 26.
Yeah. And I did do that in TGFBI. He was a third round pick for me, and that's a 15 team roto. So
yeah, good for you. I did Ohtani and Acuna back in the Glarf draft, which is a 15 team 5x5 roto.
There you go. Britton, real quick for the gentleman who asked, do you want to tell us your thoughts on Acuna?
Yeah, I'm passing on Acuna. This is his second knee injury. After his first knee injury, the year that he came back was terrible. The team has said they're not going to let him run. He said he's not going to run. He might get 10, 15 stolen bases. The power will be there, but now he's on 2 surgically repaired knees. I think they're going to hold him back. They're going to give him days off. They're just not. If he has another knee injury, 3 in, I don't know, 4 years, like that could be like a career affecting types of situation. So I'm not in on Acuna this year for a third round draft pick. Like I'll get Lawrence Butler two rounds later. You know, like I don't think it makes sense to take that kind of a risk. Like let him get acclimated this year, get back in the swing of things. You know, he hadn't played baseball in a while, so let him. When he does play, he has a knee brace the size of your head on his knee, like this and it's his second, right? So there's a mental aspect too. Like I wouldn't draft him this year. Just let him get right this year, and then next year is the year to draft him. Ronald Acuna.
There we go. So split there. Gov and I are in. Britton is out. Next question here comes from Harry Brooks. He wants to know what round range in a 10 team would you feel comfortable drafting Christian Yelich and or Mike Trout. Currently, Christian Yelich is being taken at pick 103, and Mike Trout is being taken at pick 91. So I've already been on record of saying this. I'm out on Christian Yelich. He's firmly on my do not draft list. There's something going on with his back, and he has back flare-ups all the time. I hope I'm wrong because he's great for the game. But other than that, really one MVP year, which was, it feels like decades ago, he hasn't seemed to be able to stay on the field. So I'm out on Christian Yelich. Mike Trout, I'm probably in the same bucket here just because he's always hurt. But for me, and the prime years of Mike Trout are obviously gone. But this is a guy that can still hit 30, 40 home runs. So depends on Mike Trout. It's hard for me to gauge what round to take him in a 10-team league, but I feel comfortable maybe taking him at round or a pick 100, sub 100 there for me. But Britton, any strong thoughts on Christian Yelich and Mike Trout? I'll start with you first.
Yeah, I kind of like Christian Yelich. Like I shouldn't say like. I mean, I'm not opposed to drafting Christian Yelich. He's got a good batting average. He'll steal some bases. Yeah, the back is an issue, so I wouldn't go crazy, but. Mike Trout I'm staying away from Mike Trout. In the past 5 years, he's hit over 19 home runs once out of 5 years. So this is just, he's in the twilight of his career. He's got, 10 home runs last year, 18 the year before that. 1 year he had 8. Like games played. that one year he sniffed over 100 games, but other than that, games played 53, 36, 82, 29. I don't know. I'm kind of out on Mike Trout. What do you think, Govier?
I actually, I mean, look, 315 appearances at the plate for Yelich, and he hit with an excellent batting average. He even stole 21 bases in half a season. So I've never drafted Yelich, but if I got desperate, I might in a head-to-head. Again, not for volume plays, only for streaky
That batting
runs.
average looks good.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of knowledge and wisdom to apply to the plate. It's just that back is a nightmare, so he could get hurt. And why risk that? I don't know. And if I can't fill batting average later, then maybe I shouldn't.
I think he actually came out and said that it's always going to be a part of it, no matter how much he tries to strengthen or get over it. I just don't want a guy like that, and he's very frustrating to own because he'll pull himself out of a game 20 minutes before they start. So he's firmly on my do not draft list. I don't feel comfortable taking him just simply because of that reason. You guys all brought up the stats with Yelich, and I love that. Like you said, the batting average floor. But even then, if you look at it like his 144, 154 game seasons, which were 2023 and 2022 respectively, he's a 14. I mean, he had 14 homers and 19 homers. He had 57 RBIs and 76 RBIs. The stolen bases are nice. I just think his price tag, I think people are still on in that 2018 season. Since then, he hasn't really given me, or the 2019 season when he hit 44 dongs, he hasn't really done much else to
bouncy ball
pick. Yeah. So I'm out. Mike Trout, I still think can hit for pop. I think the stolen bases are done.
He's just as a liability, though. I don't see how you can decipher the two, Mike.
Trout,
here's
he
moving to right field.
No, this is where I'm. Yeah, well, that too. But here's where I'm saying with Mike Trout, I don't feel comfortable drafting these guys currently at their ADP. Is what I'm trying to say. But if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking Mike Trout.
Okay, yeah,
I'm out on both.
Flip a coin. Who gives a shit? I mean, I've tried. I'm not drafting either guy usually, but you're forcing my hand, Harry, and I will answer you. By the way, we're getting into a range now. There's so many questions and comments that if you super chat us, you will move to the front of the line. We just cannot answer every single one of these. We're trying. We got other things we're trying to cover too, so we're getting to that territory. Now I know what it feels like to be popular. How about that? Wow, dude.
There you go.
Wow,
just letting you guys know that. We'll do our best, though.
Ink to audio. Kyle Harrison option to AAA. Mike Govier has heartburn on that. Birdsong or Roop seem to be battling for the fifth spot. Can you see both of them making the rotation and Jordan Hicks being moved to the pen? Or do you prefer Birdsong or Roop? I don't think they're going to move Jordan Hicks to the bullpen. I think he's going to be in the rotation there.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick between the two, unfortunately, it pains me to say this because I love Hayden Birdsong. I think Roop's going to get the first crack at it. And they might option Birdsong.
I drafted him today or last night on Britton's. Britton sold me on it, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go Roop now. I'm in on Roop. Birdsong will be back, but Roop's the guy.
Yeah. What about you, Britton? Are you rooping it up?
I got rooped up by friend of the show, Casey Bubba. Casey Bubba is a big San Francisco Giants fan, and he was all about Landon Roop. There it is. So I just climbed on that bandwagon too.
Speaking of intercostals, Bubba knows intercostals.
Bubba knows intercostals. All right.
He's a rib master. You never had it. He's always posting photos of his ribs, man. I love ribs too. So
absolutely. Ribs. So shout out Bubba, but yeah, he says Roop. There it is. So I
Roop. There it is. I'm in now too. That's me.
Oops wants to know, do you not want to tell me your thoughts on Robbie Ray?
They've asked like 4 times in the chat. Someone keeps asking about Robbie Ray.
We're not doing
I love Robbie Ray. All in.
We're not, real quick, anybody who's watching, we're not doing it on purpose, guys. There's a lot of comments that come in from both YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. So we're trying to get through them as all that we can. But if you have a question and you need us to answer it, the super chats thing is part of it. But also at the same time too, ask it again. We're happy to get to it. Just keep reminding us. Thoughts on Robbie Ray here, Britton? Do you have any thoughts on him?
He's looked great this season. He looks like premier Cy Young Robbie Ray for the San Francisco Giants, and also from Brentwood, Tennessee, went to Brentwood High down the road from me. I'm all up on that Robbie Ray business.
Wow, dude.
He's a great pick because you can get him late, and he looks like full stream ahead on Robbie Ray.
There you go. Go. What about you?
I tried to use him last year, and he showed flashes of what he once was. If he's healthy this year, it's party time. I think Robbie Ray is probably being slightly undervalued. And we could look back and say, hey, look at me, because he's not perennially injured. He just had a major injury that he's coming back from. So I'm in. Robbie Ray, let's party.
3 for 3. I'm also in on Robbie Ray there as well. Oops. All right. Adam says, thanks, guys. Fade Acuna in the third and pouring the bloody into the coffee mug to hide from the in-laws. Wise advice. How to do it. Here's
Honesty
a good one.
is not the best policy.
Yeah. Joe Newell wants to know Logan Gilbert or Garrett Crochet in a 5x5. For me, it's Crochet, and it's it's not close. I think he looks like a stud. I think he's my pick for AL Cy Young. I hate his stupid leg kick. I want to throw the leg kick in with Gavin Lux's face and make one gigantic mega annoying person to punch. But I don't own any shares of Garrett Crochet, and it pains me. Same with Logan Gilbert. But I love Garrett Crochet this year, despite playing in a really tough division in the AL East. But do you guys have any strong thoughts there?
Yeah, I'm all in on Garrett Crochet.
Man, it's tough.
University of Tennessee volunteer Garrett Crochet. He looks great, man. He looks like the number one pitcher in baseball. That's what he looks like. I like Logan Gilbert too. He's consistent. He's going to throw 200 innings. I love him pitching, but you're going to get more strikeouts with Garrett Crochet. So, and you're going to get more wins too, because Seattle sucks. Yeah. I'm afraid. From a win standpoint, Seattle's a great city. Don't get me wrong, but they can't score. Other than Cal Raleigh, they literally can't score. So, give me Garrett Crochet with Alex Bregman making plays. Hey, you're not going to screw up any of that third base nonsense, Devers. Bregman's going to eat it up and throw it over to first. So go get Garrett Crochet.
I heard that. What about you, Gove? Is it a clean sweep?
I think it's tighter than we realize. I think Gilbert could have a career year this season. He just doesn't have the same K9 on the surface right now, but that doesn't mean that he can't grow this year and take it another level. Plus, his ratios might be even better than Crochet's this season, possibly. I think this is a lot tighter than we realize. I'm going to go Gilbert. Screw it. I'm doing Gilbert. No, I'm doing it. I'm doing Gilbert, and that's what's happening. By the way, I'm freaking out here because Famous Jay is saying something. I'm in one of the Pallazzo Invitational leagues. Just realized the league does fab. No, we don't. No, there should be no fab. This is a draft and hold, do or die. So this is the second time I've heard this, and I actually just sent an email to my boy Jeff over at NFBC. Shout out to Jeff, who does amazing work. Just had a huge weekend in Vegas with all those drafts they're doing. So hopefully that's not the case, because it should not be the case. There should be no fab. It's 50 rounds, do or die.
It's confusing because if you look at it in the rules, it literally says there's fab. And
shit.
But I went to my league and tried to go to transactions and try to add free agents, and it's not there.
Okay.
So it looks so that's why I think people are confused, because
first timers.
One time, because it says in the rules that there's fab, but then when you go to make a fab bid, there is no free agents, or there's nowhere to fab. So
thank you. Okay, good.
So that's but that's just my league. They're 5 leagues, so I don't know what Hopefully it's not that it's consistent.
Yeah. Frank wants to know, Ozzy Albies is going for $14 in auctions. Britton would be a good person to ask on this. It seems like good value. What say you guys? Britton, you got any thoughts on Ozzy Albies for $14?
I think that's a great value. The problem with Ozzy Albies, though, is that it looks like he's going to bat at the bottom of the order. So I'm a little worried about that. But $14 for an Atlanta Braves player, everyday player, I like it. Great point. Yeah, I'm into it. But if for some reason you miss out on Ozzy Albies, don't worry. Brandon Lau is available.
There it is.
He hit his 4th home run the other day. Do you know where he hit that home run? Out in the right field, where he's going to play. He loves hitting in Florida. Brandon Lau for the Tampa Bay Rays, because in right field to home plate where he plays, it's going to be 316. I love Brandon Lau this year. You may have heard me mention that once or twice.
Hey, Britton, I want to put you on the spot here, okay? Gun to your head, you can only pick one of these guys for your fantasy team.
If you say Chase Rooker and Brandon Lau, That's like picking children. I can't do it.
Brent Rooker I wasn't actually going to say him, but let's go Hunter Green, Brandon Lau.
Well, one's a pitcher, one's a hitter.
He's got an answer for everything.
That is, I don't know. Brandon Lau for sure. I like Hunter Green a lot.
Love it.
But I can get really great pitchers elsewhere. There's only one Brandon Lau, baby, and second base sucks. So, give me that Brandon Lau. And what's great about Brandon Lau, and I'm just going to keep repeating Brandon Lau until people just get annoyed. But one thing great about him, like he's the 12th second baseman, picked overall. And then, the plan is to pick him. And then when it starts raining in Florida sometime during the summer every day, then I'm going to plug in Jonathan India, who hopefully at that point has gotten used to hitting in Kansas City. And then I'm just going to ride it out. So that's my plan for the second base this year.
Lau's had back problems like Yelich, just saying.
He has. He's been plagued by a lot of injuries, but if he can stay healthy, I'm with Britton. I like Lau's because of this. My worries with second base, as we talked about on Friday's show. If you guys didn't do that, make sure you go watch it.
Britton needs to leave. Do you want to stay on?
Yeah, I gotta go here in a few minutes.
We'll stay on a little extra. You go, Britton. We understand. So,
all right, thank you guys.
Everybody say bye to Britton.
Thanks, Britton.
Bye, buddy.
Adios, amigos.
Everybody.
Bye,
all right. What I'm not going to get is end screen.
That's right. Do not
that way.
Yeah, just close this.
Sorry about that.
Close out the window.
All right, you'll have a good day. Let me
see you, Britton. Take care. All right. So what do we got here, Mike?
So I just want to quickly touch on Brandon Lau real quick, simply because of the fact of because second base is a worry of mine. I've been waiting on second base in a lot of my leagues, and I do have Brandon Lau simply because I like the power. But I do agree with you. The injuries are a concern. I just love the humidity in Florida, playing outside, and that's why I'm in on Brandon Lau. But real quick, and I don't want to beat a dead horse here. Do you have any shares of him, or are you in or out on Lau?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I trapped him at least once, and I'll do it again. I'm looking at second base as a very deep position, so he's one of the guys that are on the radar. I like him for all the reasons you do, and you've made it very clear to me, and I join you in this wonderful experience.
Love it. Adam Lee says, although mostly nurtured, I'm a gambling man at heart. How late or what starting pitcher can I wait to draft as an SP1? Michael King, Spencer Strider, Fried, acceptable. I'm thinking waiting until the 7th in an 11-team roto. I get this question a lot, and Adam, this is not a knock on you, because I get this question a lot on Twitter in terms of like, who should I target and who's going to be available at this pick or whatever it may be. This question and a lot of other questions is so dependent on so many different factors. It's going to be dependent on how the draft goes, right? Your league mates very well may value starting pitching so much that all of these guys are gone the time it gets to you. You never know. Or you could have somebody way better than Michael King or Spencer Strider or Max Fried. And you can wait a little bit longer to do that. So it really is draft dependent. And this is what we're trying to talk about in our professional development segment as well. This is very, very big with fantasy baseball drafts. You can have a plan. You can go in there with a strategy, but shit changes. Shit happens all the times, and people reach on guys, and another guy might fall to you, and then it just screws up your whole strategy. So I guess my best piece of advice here, Adam, is yes, I am with you on terms of targeting the bats first and waiting on starting pitcher, just because it is probably the deepest position of all this year, or has been quite some time. But yeah, in terms of who's going to be there, I have no clue, and it's really, really hard to answer that. But Govier, any strong thoughts here, or any people that you think he should target?
That's right. You said it. So, look, I couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah,
move on. He's
all
right.
Cool.
You gotta be. You can't. Those types of questions are hard to answer.
Yeah. U2K says, sorry, fellas, had to step away. Not sure if you answered my question, but is a 26-man roster too big in a 10-team 6x6 categories league?
No.
You are talking to the king of – I love roster spots. Love them. I wish Yahoo actually did it more, because there's so many people that I love, and I toggle between like my bench pitchers or hitters going back and forth, because there's so many people that I like and I want to add to my team. So I think the more spots, the better. I think it makes fantasy baseball fun. I'm not saying that all leagues should be that way, but it does add a little flavor to it, something different. My home league, we have a bunch of roster spots. It's a shallower format. but we have a lot of roster positions. Just it makes it more fun. So it's very, very off the cuff in terms of just standard leagues there. But for a categories league, absolutely, man. I think that's great. I think you should bump it to 30 actually, Yui. But if you play in the head-to-head, you're a head-to-head guy yourself. How do you feel about this?
I said it adds more strategy to the situation, so I'm cool with it. Yeah. Test it out. Give it a run. In a 10-team league, you're going to have so many guys. I also like the concept, though, of, and I said this last week, tightening it up so much that there are so many cool guys in a 10-teamer that you're like, wow, that guy's on the waiver wire. What do I do? Either way, it adds a strategy, so just do what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Have fun. Skywalker says, how do you rank them in the head-to-head points? Vinny P, Tristan Casas, Josh Naylor, and Christian Walker. How do you rank these?
In points, walks matter a bit more depending on your scoring system and, power, steals, certain types of hits, if doubles and triples are in play. With these guys, triples aren't a factor. It's about power and walks, I think, for me. So I'm going Naylor. I'm going Naylor, Casas, Walker, Vinny P, maybe less so in points. And I don't love that. I don't like Walker that much, but he's proven me wrong. He's dominating and cranking dongs year after year here, so I have to acquiesce. I have to surrender.
I would value them pretty closely. Everyone knows my love for Vinny P, who did get hurt with the hamstring injury, Skywalker, yesterday, so make sure you look at that. Further testing is today, so we should hear something. But in a points league, I would value them Naylor, Casas, Vinny P, then Walker for me. But I could probably swap Vinny P and Walker there, but I think the first two, especially if Casas can stay healthy, and Josh Naylor, same thing. Health is always a factor, obviously, but from a points league and the amount of boppers that you're going to get from those two guys, I think is too good to ignore. So, Robbie says, "Bang on, Mike V. So many SP 4 or 5 types you can wait on. Absolutely,
kissing his ass, Robbie. Okay."
There we go. Fantasy sports, Max Muncy, Junior Caminero, Isak Paredes, and Matt Chapman. Rank in points, please.
Again, in points.
A lot of points leagues.
Yeah, people love points leagues. I like them too. I'm in them. I'm involved. I like head-to-head cats more than points, but that's fine. Yeah. I would say here, Matt Chapman's having a hell of a spring, by the way.
Just getting ready to say that.
He's dominating, but it's going to be... Muncy is underrated in this situation because it's a points league. He's got more value because of his ability to get on base and the power, right? It's a matter of, do you trust the injuries coming up and ruining Muncy's season or not? It's a great lineup to be a part of. So I'm going to say, because Junior Caminero, I want to see more of. I want to see what he does this year. I'm still suspect that the strikeouts could be a concern. So give me, I guess I'll say Muncy, Paredes, because he's got a good eye, Caminero, and Chapman.
Yeah, this is a tough one. They're all kind of lumped in the same realm for me, if you will. Caminero just hit a 2-run homer today. If that
draft him right now.
I'm very big on Matt Chapman. I don't have any shares of him, but I loved him. And it says Champman, so go. You missed out on a clean opportunity. He's champ here, okay?
Champ here. Shit.
So, yeah.
I'd ball really hard.
He does. I would go Isak Paredes number 1, Chapman number 2, Caminero 3, Max Muncy number 4. The reason why I have Max Muncy the 4th on this list is simply because the fact is I think they will be careful with him like they will with every other Dodgers player. Had some injuries last year with Max Muncy. I don't know if he'll be in the lineup against left-handers as well, so that might play into it as well. But I think the Dodgers are going to be very careful with their guys. And somebody else brought it up. Another very wise mind in the fantasy baseball space brought that up. I want to say it was Welsh. I'm not sure, but somebody had brought that up in terms of just where the playing time they're going to be careful. Or maybe it was Scott White. I can't remember. Anyway, somebody said that. It wasn't me.
Who knows?
My point being is that I don't know if the playing time will be there for Max Muncy a little bit longer in the tooth. Will he be in the lineup most days? Yes, but there will be some times we'll have off. So
I did trade Muncy. I joined a points league and I traded him. This is keeper / dynasty, I guess. Mm-hmm. The guy paid for me to be in it, so I'm like, sure.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love you, Don. You're the best, by the way. But I also thought that I needed a catcher too. And I thought that Muncy, although I like him in points, I moved off of him. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, there you go. So it looks like Robbie joined in and said Paredes, Caminero, Chapman, and Muncy. So there you go. Fantasy sports. Hope that helps. Frank, I'm hearing Shota Imanaga is a bust this season with a smiley face there. I don't know if he's a bust. I mean, anybody who's going to run into the buzzsaw first game of the year and against the Dodgers, that hurts. I like Shota. I don't think he's a bust.
4 walks in that start?
Yeah.
It was a crazy amount of walks. And he's going back to Wrigley. The thing that you should know about, if you haven't heard this in other podcasts from Dave McDonald, Sarah Sanchez, they had a conversation about this. The Wrigley effect last year was like a freak run of the wind blowing in, right? You've heard about this, Mike. You've talked about this, I think. And It was a weird year. So it could go back on Shota. And I did not keep Shota in a league where I could have kept 2 to 3 players last year in another league. I'm out on Shota.
So are you saying he's a bust then?
Bust is relative, but if you want to put me on the spot, sure. I think Shota Imanaga might be a bust this year.
Okay, there you go. Lock it in. Your boy Anthony wants to know Logan Allan or Martin Perez.
This is for AL only. This is deep shit. I know him. I know his story. Logan Allan left for dead. Totally screwed me last year. I'm never going to touch him, so I'm very bitter. So I'll just say Martin Perez out of spite.
I'll go Martin Perez as well. Same thing. I had Logan Allan, and he screwed me last year. But Martin Perez always seems a way. There's a stretch every year ago. I don't know if you feel about this. There's like a stretch of games that Martin Perez comes, and everyone's like, who is this guy? And why is he being added? You know, he doesn't do anything. He's not an overpowering fastball. He throws a lot of junk. Like, the dude is just like, there's going to be a stretch of games where you're going to look at like, how the hell is he doing it for 1 and 2? How is he doing it for the Chicago White Sox, which is funny. So
he's an innings eater. I don't know if it was the season in Texas, or was it the Texas season where he had that first half that was insane?
Yeah.
And he was like an all-star. Yeah, he did. He was one of the best starters the first half of the year. These things happen. Remember Johnny Cueto a couple of seasons ago with the Marlins? One last ride. And we all knew it was going to fall apart. He just kept doing quality start after quality start. Not a lot of Ks, but we all knew he was a ticking time bomb. And that bomb went off, and you hopefully had gotten off that train before it exploded.
Yeah. People in the chat are saying this is a good question, so we'll answer it here. Gashouse Russ wants to know, will Soderstrom get catcher eligibility, and is Fry worth a look when healthy? So for me, Gashouse, yes, I think Soderstrom will get some starts behind the dish there, simply because Shea Langoliers is the only guy I think they have that's catching right now. So if Soderstrom gets catcher eligibility, and I believe in most formats you need at least 5 games played to gain that eligibility, there's going to be a cheat code because he's going to be in the lineup most days, and the volume is what you want when you're talking about catchers. So in terms of David Fry, for those of you guys who don't know, catcher / utility guy for Cleveland, he is going to start the year on the 60-day IL. He's on my watch list right now, Gashouse Russ, in a deeper league that I play in, just because I like what he did last year, but he doesn't really do anything sexy for you. I think he just had a hot stretch last year, but Gove, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I don't want Fry. I know it's going to be a while before he comes back, so you can worry about that later. Oh, here we go. Move to the front of the line. We got a super chat. Martin, there you go, buddy.
Thank you, sir. For those of you guys who don't know, because we hit 1,000 subs, you can super chat and get your question bumped to the top here. But real quick, before we answer Martin, Gove, why don't you go ahead and finish up on the Soderstrom and Fry?
So there is a guy, could be the other catcher on their roster. It's some guy named Johnny Pereda. He's obviously just some defensive backup. But Soderstrom will get starts. He's a guy, yeah. It's going to be a matter of time. Soderstrom will get that eligibility. I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. Mark wants to know top relievers that have a chance at closing in 2025. For those of you guys who want your question answered, and if we've skipped over it, super chat it, we'll answer it. Gove, I'll start if you don't mind, because I did talk about this in a previous tweet. Martin, this might have been something before you were following me, but we talked about it on Friday's show. Right now, Carlos Estevez has been tabbed at the closer, with Lucas Urseg being the guy as a high leverage person. But I think he takes that role at some point. Porter Hodge is somebody that we're all high on. I think that's a guaranteed lock that he'll probably take over for Ryan Presley in Chicago for the Cubs. So he's a guy I'd be targeting. And then another guy that I'm high on, which was apparently an unpopular opinion, if Robert Suarez falters in San Diego, I think it's Jeremiah Estrada season over Jason Adam. You heard me right. A lot of people were like, Mike, I think it's Jason Adam. It's not. I'm telling you. Jeremiah Estrada has closer stuff. You got an elite fastball. Jason Adam, they've toyed with that in Tampa when Pete Fairbanks went on the IL. He's just up and down. I think he's better as a high leverage guy more so than a closer. So I think they'll like him in the 8th. But my third guy on my list would be Jeremiah Estrada. But Gov, any thoughts there on who could be coming up here in terms of the top relievers that have a chance to close?
Thanks for the super chat, Martin. Hell yes, brother. We really appreciate the support here because the more you guys can do that, the more we can do shows more often, by the way. That's the goal. That's the dream. Thank you. I don't think it's controversial at all that Estrada should be the closer if Suarez falters or is moved. I'm totally with you there. I don't give a shit about Jason Adam. I don't. So that makes no sense that people would be like, oh, Jason Adam over Estrada. I know Estrada's young, but screw that. As far as other guys, I love Porter Hodge. You covered that. We've covered that on the show many times. I'm also Bo Brieske, I think, is the guy you want to have in Detroit. Bo Brieske. I watched him last year, and he used to be a starter, and I was like, man, his stuff looks awesome. And then I come to find out later on, I think during the preseason here, that Greg Jewett, my guy over at Reliever Recon, has him listed as the number 1 guy in Detroit. I didn't even know that. I was independent of that knowledge. You put those two together. I love Bo Brieske as a guy that you'd want to add. Another play, Ben Joyce. I mean, I know that Kenley Jansen is there, so Ben Joyce might get the shot later in the year for sure. You want to stay close to that one. And I love Mark Church. Mark Church in Texas is a guy that you don't know who he is. He's 23 years old. He throws gas. I don't trust all the guys they have. I like Robert Garcia first for Texas as a guy to get saves, and then Mark Church. These are guys to look at in Texas to get those saves later on, Martin. I don't like Chris Martin. I'm not drafting him. I don't think that's going to work out, and maybe I'm going to be looking like a jackass. But I don't want Chris Martin. I like Garcia and Church long-term through the season.
Yeah. I want to talk about 2 other guys real quick, if I could. Griffin Jacks of the Twins. Johan Duran is obviously the guy there. But it's worth noting that Rocco Baldelli likes to mix and match. Griffin Jacks is highly underrated as a reliever. This is one of my bold fantasy takes. I think he actually might be better than Johan Duran. Griffin Jacks was absolutely elite last year. 2.03 ERA, 95 strikeouts, 30% owned. If you play in a Holes league, he should be rostered. If he's not, continue to watch this and go at him. But Griffin Jacks is a guy I like in Minnesota. And then one other guy I wanted to talk about really quick, and Edwin Uceta of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot of buzz as well. He did give up 2 homers last week to the Yankees, but he's got elite stuff too. And Fairbanks is always hurt, so another guy to keep your eye on.
Yeah. What about Andrew Kittredge in Baltimore? I know he's hurt, but do you look at him? There's just no way. But
no,
Bautista not going to save back-to-back days from what we hear.
No, yeah, he's not. It's going to be a mix of Yenny Cano and also Sir Anthony Dominguez. So I think Dominguez will probably get the first crack. It's funny because I think I talked about this last year on the show. There's an interview they did with Cano when Kimbrel was sucking. He's like, I don't really like closing. I like being in the 8th. He's like, I don't have closer stuff. I'm an 8th inning guy, which probably doesn't ring a whole lot of endorsements for Brandon Hyde to throw him out there in the 9th.
Not as bad as what's-his-face a couple years ago. Remember? Come on, who's that guy? The guy who was just had nothing at all. He was just getting people out on the changeup, and he got a few saves. He was on Baltimore, I believe. Remember this guy? He was just so bad, and they finally traded him at the deadline. Lopez? Was it? No, it was someone else. He was an old man. He was like 36. He was like 36 years old. I'll have to look it up, but it happened. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to other questions. Yeah. Thanks for the super chat, Martin.
Yeah, appreciate you. Eddie says, nice tip, Mike VA. Appreciate you, dude. Uncle Ted says, just the tip. Yeah. Eddie
for a minute. Just see how it feels.
Yeah. So good. Porter Estrada, give me more. I'm in a Holds league today. Hunter Gaddis is another guy from Cleveland that I like, but
I like Cade Smith to usurp Class A this year. You want to get radical? I think Class A falters and he gets usurped by Cade Smith. Lock that in.
Yeah, real quick, Eddie. I like that call. Go. I like Yimi Garcia, and I also like Jose Alvarado as well. Justin Slayton in Holds league. Those are just some guys. Jojo Romero for St. Louis. Just name a few. Colin Holderman.
Camilo Duvall too. Don't give up on Duvall. I still like Duvall in San Francisco. Ryan Walker's getting all the love, but don't give up on Duvall either. He's still on that bullpen. I think, Saris was saying San Francisco has one of the best bullpens in baseball recently. So keep an eye on Duvall.
Hit that button twice. Lock it in, baby, because I'm so with you on that.
Hell yeah. All right.
Yeah, I love that because he's actually looked decent in the spring. I was so interested in that because I saw that he's been pitching well in the spring. And they did say that they still want him to work on his control, especially later in games, not walking anybody, and his fastball command. But I'm telling you, this guy was being drafted as a top 5 closer, I believe, at one point a couple of years ago. He still has it. If he can figure it out and Ryan Walker falters, Duvall might be the closer of steal of the year. So,
yep.
All right. Let's see. Eddie Buzz says, do you trust Liam Hendricks or Chapman? They did say, a beat reporter did say that Chapman has the inside leg there to close games early going for Boston. So give me Chapman. I really don't like any of these guys. I'm probably staying away from this bullpen. Out of anybody that I like in this bullpen the most, it's probably Slayton before either of these guys. I think there will be a point in the season where Slayton will close games. But if I had to pick between these two, it's Chapman. What do you think, Gove?
Oh, boy. Yeah. I guess this one is Chapman seems to be getting picked sooner and people are leaving Hendricks as an afterthought, but they signed Hendricks last year, right? To let him recover and get back in the game. I know they spent $10 million on Chapman, but I just think it's a matter of luck and variables, how it plays out. Like who gets possibly injured, who shits the bed. I know Cora wants one guy. He's made that clear. He's been on the record saying that. So flip a coin, man. I'm torn. I couldn't give you a clear answer. It would be, I think, disingenuous of me to say I have one.
Yeah, I'd say I'm saying Chapman right now, Eddie, but again, that could change because he hasn't looked good in the ninth for quite some time now. Real quick, since we're talking about closers, Francona did come out and say that, quote, he hasn't given it a ton of thought yet on who might be the new closer. Didn't seem in a hurry to settle on one arm in the ninth inning, saying,
that's a lie.
We'll just see how we can get there and we'll do it the best way that we can.
That's a lie. What a bullshit answer from a guy who's been in baseball for decades.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll name somebody.
I'm the manager of the Cincinnati Reds, one of the only Major League Baseball teams in the United States of America, and I haven't really thought about it.
Yeah, this is a good one here, too. Don't forget, Robbie just covered relief pitch in depth in the Dynasty episode, so make sure you guys go check out that.
Yeah, Mason Miller butt buddies right here, you guys. Yeah!
That's right.
I like him, too. I want to join the party. Can I get in on the orgy? Because I love him, too. He's awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah. You can definitely get in on that.
All
Eddie
right.
says, Johan Duran lost a tick off his fastball, correct? I did not hear that, but Griffin Jacks is obviously a good guy in Holds League for sure. He's actually my number one target in Holds League. So I hope he doesn't close because I have him. I want the Holds. Let's see. Hot take. Austin Wells will be the number one catcher this year. That is a hot take. I do like Austin Wells, but I don't like him that much. Let's see. This is a good one here too, Britton, Go, because we talked about this on a previous show, and this seems to be one of the hotter topics in terms of the closers between Justin Martinez and AJ Puck. Who do you think gets the first crack at saves there?
Boy. Who gets the first crack? That's another one where I've stayed away. I haven't drafted either one of them because I don't know. I think Puck is secondary because they just signed Martinez to an extension, right?
Yep.
Like this happened the other day. So if you want to read the signs on that one, the baseball signs, whatever your favorite one is, do you like to do the nose thing? I never knew what signs meant because I played baseball, but I don't remember them. Yeah, I remember doing all that shit, which was hilariously spoofed in The Naked Gun, which his show is named after. Shout out Naked Gun. But I think Martinez is the guy for the moment.
Yeah, I think it's Martinez as well. He's right-handed and AJ Puck is left-handed, so I think AJ Puck is going to be a high leverage guy, especially when they got lefties coming up. And that very well could be in the ninth. But Justin Martinez has got elite stuff too. He just needs to put a leash on it and get some of that control back. So, but I love that. I have Justin Martinez shares. I have none of AJ Puck. Let's see. Uncle Ted says he bets that Scott Barlow is the closer in Cincinnati. It could be Rogers. It could be Graham Ashcraft. We talked about that earlier, Ted. Let's see. Here we go. Out of Rhythm Sports.
By the way, that guy, I'm interrupting you, but that guy I was mentioning was Cesar Valdez. He saved 8 games for the Orioles back in 2021. The 2021 season, he had nothing. He had no gas whatsoever. It was purely the changeup, and it was a miracle that he was able to save 8 games. And this is when Baltimore was shit in 2021 still.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. Don't call him shit. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, nobody could deny that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
feel
makes this so sweet. That's what makes losing in the first round of the playoffs so sweet because you went through all that pain, right?
No.
Oh, right. No, it doesn't.
I hated
Okay,
last year
so.
too. The past couple of years in the playoffs, we've gotten smoked, and it kills me. Anyways, Jamie out of Rhythm Sports says, any of these guys you would drop for anyone on waivers? Tavares, Melendez, Fry, Mitch Spence. I think is he still with the team? I thought he got option.
Yeah. Oh, he got option. I'm pretty sure he's going to make the roster. I'm looking at it right now.
Tyler Anderson, Tobias Myers.
Oh shit, maybe he's not been optioned, but he's on the back end of the bullpen possibly because they got Severino, Springs, Beto, Sears, Joey Estes might pitch in the. It's between Estes and Spence in the moment for that last spot in Oakland.
I don't really understand this question, but any of these guys you would drop for anyone on waivers?
Yeah, this is wait, any of these guys you would drop for it? Yeah, I think these are guys for anyone. Would you drop any of these guys? This is a deep lead too, by the way. So he doesn't make that clear. Tobias Myers, I'm concerned. I don't want to be involved with him. So
yeah. And do you hold on to Royce Lewis? Of course, you have to. I'll stash him. I know I know people don't like him because he's always hurt, but when he plays, I mean, it's hard to drop somebody like that. Is what I'm trying to say. Especially too because you probably spent a higher-ish draft pick on him, and if this is indeed a deep league, I think you're going to be dropping him for somebody who's probably not a full-time player. So I would hold Royce Lewis in deep league.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, Anthony, thanks. He doesn't even have a question. He's just saying thank you. Thank you, Anthony. $4. Woo!
We get it? Oh yeah. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Thank you, Anthony,
Thanks,
very much for the super chat, dude. I appreciate it. Anybody else in the live chat, feel free to jump in, man.
You don't even have a question, too. That's a true thank you, sir. You're a good man. I love you, Anthony.
Thank you very much. Let's see here. Skywalker, who's your dark horse starting pitcher that can have a big year? Gavin Williams, Rasmussen, fit the bill. Any others you suggest? Yeah, I mean, this is a Gavin Williams podcast, Skywalker. If you're not familiar with it, we all love Gavin Williams. I like him this year. I love Clay Holmes this year. Somebody I'm very high on. Spencer Schwellenbach is another guy I'm high on.
What about Rasmussen, though? What about him? Because I'm suspect, and I haven't drafted him because I'm concerned. It's, first of all, the Rays, and there's other guys I like that I'm more confident in. So I have not drafted Rasmussen at all, mainly because of the injury factory in the Rays.
Yeah, they are going to be careful with his pitches, I think, too. I kind of think that they'll, at some point, he's probably going to have a rotation spot with the injury to McClanahan, but I actually think at some point they may, when he gets to a point where they're monitoring his innings, that he might operate as an opener and a guy that only goes a couple innings. The Rays love to do that. See Ryan Yarborough, if you guys remember him. So I think Rasmussen kind of fits that bill, but so I wouldn't necessarily put him in the dark horse, aka, if you will.
He's 30 years old, so he's late 29. He'll be 30 in a couple months, and they see him as part of this rotation, but I need to see more of it, man. I just think you could. I also am concerned about, and we've talked about this in the show, they're pitching outdoors now. It's a whole different environment. Summertime, Florida, there's a lot of different things that are factoring into Rays pitching, which has me suddenly, even though I love the piss missile, I love Taj Bradley, I'm suddenly hesitant to draft these guys.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Another guy I like here, Skywalker. I love Reese Olson of Govier's Bozo Tigers. I find myself more and more drafting him. I kind of like Dustin May a little bit. I just don't know if they're going to let him pitch a whole lot this year.
Yeah, Anthony got him as my proxy in Tout Wars, and I didn't prefer that, but I got him. So
one other guy I want to bring up, and then we'll move on to the next question. Even though he's not with the team, I love Zebby Matthews of the Twins. If you play in a whip league, this guy's got elite control. I love Zebby.
How long?
Until he comes up.
Yeah,
I'm going to say May or June. I don't think it'd be around that time. If I had to pick between the 2 months, I'd say June. But he's definitely a guy to watch out for later half of the year.
I like him too. Let's give Anthony some love here because he super chatted us without a question. Ashcraft or Clevenger? I forgot to. I don't think we've talked about this much on the show. I really like Clevenger as the closer for the White Sox. He's only pitching at one inning now. He clearly is a reliever for them now. I know they suck and they're not going to win a lot of games. Uncle Ted, sorry, buddy. You're going to lose that bet. But Clevenger is a guy that
Sorry.
Yeah, 89 wins, I believe, was the number. We have it on the record on that show, so we can go back and check that one. But Clevenger is a guy I would like as a deep, hey, I can get a guy for nothing that no one's thinking about in deeper leagues as a possible closer. But I would admit right now that maybe Ashcraft is slightly more of a play currently, but I don't know if it's going to be that far off. Really. Like, we're seeing this now because this is the breaking news of the day with Diaz hitting the IL, but I don't know if we look by end of season, how different will the total be for saves/holds for both these guys?
Yeah, I think it's not going to be too far off at the end of the day. Here's the thing. Clevenger is already the closer here, Anthony. So I would go Clevenger if you need saves, but Ashcraft has yet to be named the closer. I think, at least from what we heard from Terry Francona earlier today, it doesn't sound like he's landed on anybody, but I'm sure he does. I actually like Rogers to get the first crack of that. I was on the Scott Barlow train as well, but I think it'll be Rogers that gets the first crack. But if it is Ashcraft, I would go Ashcraft over Clevenger simply because the fact is I think the Reds will obviously win more games and be an opportunity to save games. But if you're asking me today on March 23rd, it's Clevenger simply because I think he has the role already to himself. So, all right. Let's see. Just going through a couple of these. Frank, we talked about the Cincy closer situation. We just briefly touched on it there too, but just rewind. There's some good stuff in there. Robbie says he likes Whitlock with Boston as a potential closer. I like that too. They love Garrett Whitlock in Boston. Skywalker's. Oh, we already talked about this one. Are we in or out on Goldie this year? Real quick. Go in or out.
I was doing working on my tiers yesterday with all these. I got 4 drafts here. I got a draft tonight, 2 tomorrow, and 1 on Tuesday. The final drafts for me. So there's still plenty to go here. And these are all redraft. Well, 3 of these are redrafts. Mm-hmm. And I put Goldschmidt. I had him below Nathaniel Lowe. I had him below Michael Toglia. So I'm
with you, dude.
Not a fan.
Yeah, neither am I. I just think he's on his last leg here, Frank. I think Robbie actually said this too. Robbie, if you're still watching, correct me if I'm wrong. He's kind of in that like Anthony Rizzo boat, and that's a lazy comp because Rizzo went to the Yankees as well. But I could see him having a very Anthony Rizzo-like season. There'll be a couple of months where you'll be able to use him because he's hot and he is still Paul Goldschmidt. But I think that the ship has sailed on that one. He's sailing with Captain Jack Avery right now. Steve Anders. I don't think we've had him on the show before, haven't we? Name looks somewhat familiar now that I think about it.
It is. There's so many names. Great to have you, Steve. Good to see you.
Jackson Jobe made the starting rotation. Is he any good? I'm going to let Govier answer that one because he pitches for his favorite team, the Detroit Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd make the opening day rotation, so I was wrong again. Wrong. Yep, that's me getting it wrong. That's okay. But, dude, is he talented? Yes. Is he good enough? Hell yeah, he is. If he falters, it'll be the big surprise. I think that people will be shocked to see him falter, but it is possible. But he's got the stuff, and he's got a pitching coach who is so damn good at harnessing and getting the most out of starting pitchers. So Jackson Jobe should have, 125 innings this year.
Yeah. I don't hate that either. I love Jackson Jobe. I've been on record of saying this multiple times throughout the show and last year. I think he's a guy that you can should be drafting. He should be on somebody's team. I don't care what format you play in, just off the upside alone. I believe he's MLB.com's number 3 prospect. They probably will put a leash on his innings. It depends on how far Detroit goes, but I love Jackson Jobe. I have a couple dynasty shares of him as well, so I am a tad biased. But if you guys don't know Jackson Jobe, just go type him in YouTube and watch his stuff. Electric. He has. And maybe Ben and Robbie can correct me on this. I think he has SP1, SP2 potential.
No, there's no doubt about that. That's not yes, you are correct. There is no doubt about that.
Wrong!
No, he's right. I was wrong.
Frank says mixed messages about Sonny Gray in terms of his injury. Yeah, I've always been out on Sonny.
What's the injury?
I can't remember. I think it was a back or maybe it was a side issue. Somebody correct me.
I'll look into it.
Yeah, but I've been out on Sonny Gray simply because of the age and the team context with St. Louis. I don't know. He had a great year last year. He's actually pretty reliable now that I think about it. But the age scares me, and the injury now. I'm out on him. But do you have any shares of Sonny Gray, Go?
I've been thinking about it a lot. I really want to pull the trigger on him because I think you're making a mistake. Because this guy had a 3.84 ERA last year.
Yep.
But he had a 3.03. Wait, a 3.03 ERA last year, or was it 3.84? Oh,
I think it was 3.03 last year.
Wow, that's stupid. I'm mixing up my numbers off the top of my head because I'm a jackass. Yeah, I was right. He had a 3.84 ERA last year, and his Sierra was 3.03. So that means he had some bad luck mixed in there as well, possibly. He could have been even better. Yep. This guy's 35 years old. He's been around. He knows how to pitch. I just wish he wasn't as high in drafts. But if he falls enough, I will take Sonny Gray. I think it's worth it because the guy can miss bats too. His K per 9 is still very, very tasty. He had almost 11 K per 9 last year, guys. 10.98. That's huge for a starting pitcher. 35 years old. This guy is clearly a stud still, but I know year to year he can kind of give you something, get hurt. I know the injuries of, oh God, I'm so sick of qualifying injuries. But yes, they've been a part of his story at times. Yeah. But I think Gray is somebody that we're sleeping on a little bit. I do. And he could get traded at the deadline to a team that will be much more in line to get more wins because the Cardinals have a youth movement brewing here.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. And it's a good point because I agree with that with you on that take. And this is another reason why I'm in on Nolan Arenado this year, who's basically free. I know his stats have been declining, but I also do think he gets moved to the deadline to a contender. Hopefully that gets a little more oomph in his step there. And I think that the prime Nolan Arenado is gone, but I still like him, Gove. And this is going to sound maybe outlandish. I still think he's good for 25 to 30 home runs with 80, 90, 100 RBIs.
No power, but the other parts are right.
If he can start pulling the ball a little bit more, because in 2023 he was close to that. So if he goes to a team like maybe Houston, and I know Isaac Paredes is there, but if he goes there as a DH or something along those lines and starts hitting him in the Crawford boxes, I'm telling you, I still think he has the chance to do that. Last year was not a good year. All of his advanced metrics have slowly started to come down, as we've seen that for quite some time. But we are talking about Nolan Arenado here. We're not talking about a schmuck. So.
Who the hell's working on a Sunday? I'm hearing.
I was gonna say I heard that. Hey,
what
go.
the hell?
How about this one? One of my followers, Jackson Nicoya. Thank you. Great content. So much help. I'm buying Mike an adult beverage with an S, maybe 2, 3.
Ooh.
Of his choice at Pickles Pub on 428 versus the Yankees. If he's there,
I know Pickles Pub.
Yeah, that's my
That's
spot,
right next
man.
to Camden.
Yep, exactly right. I say this, and I make this joke every time with my wife and my brother. When I roll up to Pickles and I'm one of the first people there, one of the first things I say when I talk to the bouncer who's checking the IDs outside is I say, "Daddy's home. Get me a Natty Bow. I'm ready. Let's go."
I drove by that place so many goddamn times when I was an Uber driver. Yes, I can see it right now, right there on coming off the freeway, right into where the casino is, and then there's the Ravens Stadium, and then right there over by Utah Street. Utah, give me 2. That's right.
Utah, give me 2.
I think about that every time now. Real quick about Pickles Pub. You know what's great about Pickles Pub is the bathroom when you're in the guys' room because they don't have.
I don't believe this.
They don't believe in the dividers. So when somebody
it's a trough.
Yeah, people. No, it's not a trough, but it's just 2 urinals next to each other. But as soon as you open the door, people can just see your wang sitting at the bottom. If they went like this,
yeah,
they could probably see your wang. So
nice wang. Good job, buddy. Yeah. What have you been drinking?
Right. Let's get to a couple more here, Gov. And thank you everybody for the questions. If you don't know, Super Chats is active. So if you guys want to get your question answered, or you just want to show some love to the show, feel free to super chat us. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Super chat, super thanks, super stickers. Technically, there's 3 categories, but it's all the same thing. So who gives a shit?
There you go.
Well, we do care.
We do. So. Yeah, we do. Harry Brooks says, "Do you like Jeffrey Springs in Oakland this year?"
Well, we talked a little bit about this earlier. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He's in the Rasmussen category of how can we trust him? He has stuff that's more powerful than Rasmussen. He can miss more bats. So I haven't drafted him at all, and maybe I'll miss out on the action. But Harry, I've avoided Jeffrey Springs this year. Tampa outsmarting Oakland seems like a no-brainer to me, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm with you. I'm out on Jeffrey Springs. I have no shares, and I won't either. So, but in deeper formats, like he had an 8K performance, I believe, yesterday, which people are buzzing about. But
yeah,
still spring training here, guys. He has more K potential than Rasmussen, but I'm out on Springs. I'm out on really any starting pitcher in Oakland and Tampa Bay. The more and more that I think about it, I was in on Shane McClanahan though. Everybody else, I was like, eh. But yeah. All right. A couple more here, and then we're going to head out because it is Sunday and we do have lives.
Yes, we do. That's correct.
Eddie Buzz says Kumar or Leiter. Real quick, Gove, who do you got?
This is a tough one. They're all so tough. Oh, my God. Real quick, I got to go lighter right now, even though I was against lighter, but everybody in the Pallazzo chat told me I was an idiot last week when I brought that up. So in the text thread, we have a great text thread with all our Pallazzo people, and I like when it's bumping, and there's a lot of information that we can all learn from each other in that chat. So I'm going to say it's lighter, I guess. Kumar is a guy I'm still suspect of. Rocker, I'm like, I don't know.
Kumar, what is that, like 5 O's or 2 U's?
Oh my God, we need that. I'll have to add that.
I'm on lighter as well. Rhys Hoskins, 30-plus homers this year. I think you asked us this earlier, Frank, and apologies for missing it, but he had an over-under of, I believe you said 30. Do you like Rhys Hoskins to hit 30 home runs this year? Go.
Maybe. He never quite gets to 30. He's always at like 26, 27. He should have been like a 35 homer, 40 homer guy, I felt like, when he came up, but now it's 8 years later, and he's serviceable as a guy if you just want to put him in at first base and say, all right, I can get 25 homers out of him, but in average leagues, he's not as useful as he is in OBP leagues. So I don't think he gets to 30. I would say no.
Yeah. All right, last one here. Any update on Mookie? Has he gained any weight back? I'm not worried about the weight thing, obviously. I think he'll be in the lineup opening day. That's just pure speculation here, Frank. As we talked about with Max Muncy, the Dodgers are going to be very, very careful with their starters on a regular basis. If one of these guys sneezes in the wrong direction, he could be out for a day or two. So I like Mookie to be in the opening day lineup. I don't have any concerns there.
Have you noticed there seems to be several illnesses related to stomachs, gastrointestinal stuff going around spring training with Wilyer Abreu? Like he missed weeks and weeks because he had diarrhea.
Everybody's just shitting their brains out.
I know. I wonder, like, did somebody pick up a bug somewhere and it spread through all the clubhouses or something? It seems like there's other guys too, like illness. And I see that day to day, or I see that at all on a designation of a player. I freak out and I'm like, oh shit, what is this? And then you click on it, it's like, yeah, his stomach was upset. He was a little queasy. I'm like, oh, okay, well, thank God, I guess.
Real quick, Gov, I want to gas you up here a little bit. If you guys haven't done so already, go over to Twitter and search Kevin McConaughey's Mammo shot he hit off Aaron Nola today in today's spring training game. Absolutely obliterated. And Eric Cross has him as a top 25 prospect. Gov, you like that call?
Forget Eric Cross. I mean, I love Eric, but Ben Chase. Ben Chase has been telling you about Kevin McGonigal since the moment he got drafted by the Tigers a couple years ago. And I immediately followed path. And I love McGonigal. This is a guy in Dynasty who's a must roster. He's got all the talent in the world, a lot of patience. He's going to be a difference maker. That's what Gleyber Torres is on a 1-year deal. He's gone. You put McGonigal at second base next year or Hyu Lee. The Tigers have guys. They got a lot of guys they can rely on here. It's a very interesting time. But I love McGonigal. And I also love Eric Cross, but Ben Chase deserves as much credit as anybody else because he knows as much about prospects as anybody in this game, okay?
Yeah, and I just literally opened up Twitter and saw it on Eric Cross's tweet. So shout out to you, buddy. I love you. I think you're at the top of the prospect game, my guy. Real quick too, Zach Geloff, breaking news. Undergoing hand surgery will begin the season on the IL. So if you have Zach Geloff, you better be looking for another.
I drafted him once in TGFBI, so that's over now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good stuff. Gov, anything else you want to get on the record before we head out?
Yeah, Chad, Chad, you are singing the praises that I would join you in. Breaking news that Brian Bello will be back April 11th. So the shoulder inflammation had everybody worried about Brian Bello being available at the start of the season for the Red Sox. And this is a guy I love. I love Brian Bello. I think it's Bello because it's 2 L's. So Brian Bello is a guy that you should be drafting now for sure without fear. He'll be back much sooner than was originally feared. And this should be his career year. Last year I was hoping for Bello to take a big step forward. I'm hoping it's this year now. I'm still in big time on Brian Bello.
Yeah. It's hard not to like any pitcher for Boston right now, especially with that lineup that they got. If everyone stays healthy, Boston's going to be a dark horse to win that division over.
And he's one of the guys they want in that rotation. So if you're worried, like, well, they got so many guys, Lucas Giolito, Cutter Crawford. No, Bello's a part of their future, or their current and their future.
Agreed. All right, well, Gov, that's going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. Thanks you for the 2 folks that super chatted us. We greatly appreciate that. We love you. Thank you.
I think that's like 3 or 4 super chats now for our career. Good. Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody.
For those of you guys who don't know, and that's something I mentioned it earlier on in the show, make sure you tune in this Tuesday. Our 4th, is it 4th or 5th? It's the fourth annual Bozo Fest. It is our opening day eve show. Yes, I understand that opening day is not on Wednesday. It's a Thursday this year, so we're doing it 2 days earlier. So Gov can be a part of that. So nobody get in the chat and get on our ass about it, please. But make sure you guys tune in, please. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll be myself, Michael Govier, Britton Allan, all of the rest of these guys down here will be on the show, amongst many other popular names you've seen throughout the fantasy baseball space. So a lot of people are going to be dropping in, coming and going. It'll be awesome. Get your takes on the record. Make sure you guys come in here and tell us all your bold takes and who's going to do well and who's going to bust. But make sure you guys join us again Tuesday, 8 p.m. live on the Pallazzo Podcast YouTube channel. Utah, give me 2.
Utah, give me 2.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.